Mic check 1 2 1 2. I am the Y2K collector, and I'm back on a Saturday night. I know that it's a kind of a mix of weather out there. It's kind of warm. It's been a little bit of a mixed warm. Now it's starting to get a little cold and chilly. And we are officially entering into snuggle season, sweater season, hoodie season. This is the time when you cozy on up, you stay inside, and usually staying inside sometimes means playing some more video games. And so I figured I'd talk about that tonight and kind of dive into one of the handhelds that I have a kind of a bigger collection for. I figured I'd talk about some PSP tonight. And so I've got about 15 gems, and these are gems in my PSP collection that I've got. I collected heavily for the PSP at one point. I was buying lots. I was getting some really cool games in some of these lots. I used a lot of PSP games for trades when I was collecting for the PS1, so I used some of that trade bait there. And then I also, handpicked a few ones that I really felt like I wanted to either play or check out. And I've played a lot of the PSP games in my collection. I would say I played probably about 65 to 70% of those games. And there are a few that I have not had a chance to play yet. Still got some sealed, and you'll see some of those here today as I kind of go through. But I don't want to do too much jabbering and too much blabbering, but I am going to continue to do so for another couple minutes, only because I heard that there are going to be some more changes with the Sony PlayStation Store. That's old news. I know that that's been out for a few weeks now. So, but again, I always keep the PSP, the PS Vita, all things PlayStation I like to keep in the back of my mind, mainly because the PlayStation ecosystem does not feel as stable as the Nintendo ecosystem. And I've also heard even great things about the Xbox. Their online ecosystem, I've heard is actually pretty great. With the pass, I think that was great for a while. I don't really know too much about, Xbox and stuff like that, but I feel like from what I've heard and from what I've seen, it just feels like PlayStation's online ecosystem and your ability to download games and just participate, just feels a little bit more fragile. Actually, it feels a lot more fragile. So for me, I just feel like with PlayStation right now, I feel like that's where I put a lot of my attention. So not going to do any more jabbering or blabbering, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on some of these PSP games. So the first one that I'm going to go into is Lunar. Right, and this is an XSEED game. This is one of the first games that I got when I actually got my PSP, and this is just one of those story-based RPGs. Really great art, but it's slow pace. These require time. These RPGs, you got to be really willing and ready to sit down and put the time into these. And a lot of these I played just to kind of get a little bit of the taste of the experience. But this is a cool RPG. This is one that I definitely will try and get back to, perhaps this winter. But yeah, Lunar. And here we got another RPG. Now this is more of an action RPG. This is one of the ones that I have not played, but this is Steambot Chronicles. And this is the battle tournament. This is an Atlas game. I remember seeing footage of this game and just thinking, man, that looks a lot like it looked like the very serious version of Adventures of Tronbon. And I just remember at that time, I think Adventures of Tronbon was like $250 or $275. And I was just like, man, I can't pay that much for Adventures of Tronbon, but this looks like a really good game. And it was nowhere close to that when I got it. So I remember picking this up, and but this is another one of those that I just hadn't gotten a chance to getting around to. So it is sealed in the case, but definitely want to crack this open, Steambot Chronicles, and give it a nice run one night. Okay, I do like the Eve series, and here I've got Eve's Oath of Felghana. This is one of the ones that I picked up again early when I first got the PSP. And then, XSEED Classic. This is one of those more action-based RPGs, more quick, And I like it. I like it because of the whole power up, getting better armor, getting better weapons. It has a pretty interesting story. So, yeah, this is one of those. Very cool, very cool. But I have not played this one, not this installment. I've played Ys 7, Ys 8. I haven't cracked into Ys 9 yet, but I'm sure this is gonna feel a lot like the even Ys Chronicles, I think it is, on the Switch. I've been playing that. These games are just fun games to play. I like them, and I haven't cracked this one open yet. This is also sealed, but I've played, I feel like, download versions of this game, and I have different versions of this game. So the Ys series is cool. And after saying all of that about the Ys series, I'm not going to waste too much time talking about Ys 7. I've played this one as well. Again, feels like Ys Origins. That's what these games feel like. Ys Origins. That's what it is on the Nintendo Switch. So if you played Ys Origins, these games are going to feel pretty familiar. And they're just a lot of fun. Great story. Nice action. Quick on your feet. I like it. My kind of game. And then this is more, I think, of a slower paced RPG. This is another one of the ones that I hadn't played yet. But I remember after having it in my collection for a while, I realized, like, hey, this one is it's pretty decent. I guess it's a kind of sought after, and that's Hexy's Force, and this is for the PSP. I've had this for a while. Even the little wrapper here is a little snaggle tooth there, so I guess that should make cracking it open less painful. But yeah, this is one that I was like, yeah, I'm going to check this out. Again, I think at the time that I was really getting a lot of these, I was in the middle of playing Grandia. I was heavy, Grandia 2. That's what I was playing on the Dreamcast. And I was just like, man, these RPGs are great. I think I'm going to pick up a few because, just the story was cool. You kind of get lost in the story, but, then the pace of life kind of picks up and you're like, man, I can't pay attention to this the way I want to. But yeah, pretty cool games to get. All right, now we're going to get into that action, right? And that's really what I'm more into, that action. So here we've got Metal Slug XX. Now, I've played a lot of Metal Slug. I've talked about this comic book store that I used to go to and play a lot of games at. And they had a Metal Slug X there. And Tarma, that was my dude. There he goes right there. There he goes right there. My man with the glasses and the yellow vest jacket. Tarma was the cool cat. I played with him a ton. And I wanted to have this on the PSP. And yeah, this is another one of those. I've played a version of Metal Slug. I have Metal Slug on the Sega Saturn. I think the PlayStation. Like a few systems. I've got it on the Vita. So yeah, Metal Slug on the PSP for me was a must. Just because I'm a Metal Slug fanatic. I think I even have this version of it here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. I got Metal Slug 3 on the Vita, over by the good folks, I think, over at Video Games New York. I think that's where I picked this up at. But yeah, I love Metal Slug. I've got all kinds of versions of Metal Slug, but that could be a whole nother video right there. So we're not going to dive in too much. Here's another cool action kind of beat 'em up game here. Kenka Bancho. Yeah, this is another gem here. This feels like a Rival Schools, like the adventure mode version of Rival Schools. That's what the fighting is like in this game. You get some cool moves. Just a really cool beat 'em up RPG action Atlas game. Like, they don't do a lot of these, but when they do them right. And I just, I got into this one afternoon, just sat down, but never picked it back up. But yeah, this is a cool one. Kenka Bancho. Yeah, this is a cool one. Okay. I've talked about this a lot. Not going to talk about it too much. Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles. This is basically two Castlevania games on the PSP, pretty much. It's Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and then it's the Castlevania The Rondo of Blood, but like a 3D, kind of like 2.5D version of the Castlevania Rondo of Blood. So if you're into that, if you're into Castlevania, I love Symphony of the Night. I love the music. I can't even play that game because then I'll just keep humming the music all day long. It's just bad. Here we got a cool beat 'em up, Rockstar. You know what they're good for. Same folks that brought us Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, that whole series. So the Warriors, just kind of like a beat 'em up, kind of like an adventure beat 'em up, cool story. Gangs of New York, old school stuff. I liked it, picked it up. It's to me, it's one that I like. And here we have, this game is hard as nails. This is one of the most frustrating games in my PSP collection. And anyone who has played this game, leave a comment down below. You know how frustrating, how how upsetting this game is with the difficulty. It's just so hard. And you can play this game a lot and just keep losing and losing, and then think you have a handle on things. And then what happens is, like, you get a whole bunch of armor, a whole bunch of weapons, and then just the computer is it's just really tough. But this is one that I would recommend for sure. Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins. I mean, if you think Ghouls and Ghosts is hard, this game is hard. It's just a tough one. And that's the thing with PSP games. Like, they're action games, like they're kind of action platforming, kind of side-scrolling games are just tough. Really tough games. All right. Then I've got 5 more games here that I think are just cool games that, to me, these are gems just because, they offer me a lot of value, a lot of nostalgia. Here's one, Mega Man Dual Pack. I beat Mega Man X was one of the first games I think I beat when I got a Super Nintendo, because I was late to getting a Super Nintendo. Like, I didn't have it when it first came out, but I did have it within its life cycle. And I think Mega Man X was one of the first games I got, beat that. And I had always had Mega Man on my Game Boy. So Mega Man was just one I wanted to have, part of that jam pack there. And then you have, I'm a big shmup lover. I definitely love me a good shmup. And so Gradius Collection is definitely a cool one to have. It's kind of tough trying to collect the Gradius games across, like, PlayStation or, Nintendo or Super Nintendo, whatever consoles they were released on. So to me, this was just a great way to consolidate and just get them all, like, one-stop shop, right in my hand. So Gradius, Gradius 2, Gradius 3, Gradius 4, Gradius 5, and then I have Gradius on the PlayStation 2. But this kind of just satisfies my need for experiencing Gradius, and this just kind of brings all the Gradius games into my collection. So this one is a really cool one to have. And Gradius, I'm not like a super fan of Gradius either, so like that was just good enough for me. Like, never really been too much into it. I'm more of like a Mars Matrix R-Type kind of guy. Okay, so let's keep the train going. So this was kind of a quirky one that I wanted to get, Guitar Man. This is one, I think I picked this up this year. Haven't had this in the collection too long, but Guitar Man Lives looked like a cool game, like a versus style of Guitar Hero, kind of, perhaps. Haven't played too much of it yet, but I know it was way more expensive on the PS2, and I did want to try it out, so grabbed it on the PSP, and that one is in the collection. And then I'm a huge Capcom fighting game fanatic, so Power Stone, the collection had to be in the collection. And this is Power Stone 1 and 2, right in the palm of your hand on the PSP. It plays pretty good too. I'm used to playing the Dreamcast controller, but this is a great way to experience this game or these games, and PSP brings it right to your hand. So that is a gem for me. And then last but not least, Darkstalkers, right? So Darkstalkers on the PSP. This is a great fighting game. This just brings, again, those Darkstalkers games. I wasn't super huge into these, I think the thing I like the most about Darkstalkers is that it brought us Morgan. And Morgan, to me, outside of Marvel vs. Capcom 1, she just really wasn't effective in many of those fighting games. I don't know where she ranks in tiers, but Morgan is the best thing out of Darkstalkers to me. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And that does it for the 15 PSP games that to me are just, gems in my collection. These are great games. Again, a lot of these I've played. Some of them are in the backlog, but I'm glad to have them based on, I took a quick look based on what it looks like. A lot of what they're going for now, it's kind of crazy. But again, that the whole PSP, the online presence is a wobbly table. And so I know that, you know, there will be a day when I want to try these out and don't know if I'll be able to download them. So that's just me with these. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what gems you have in your collection. Let me know, you know, if there's some RPGs that I should look at. Doesn't matter the price range, doesn't matter. If it's a good game, definitely let me know down in the comments and I'll take a look at it, because I like action games, open world games, and you know, that's what I'm looking at. So, and I'll do another version of these with some more gems, probably some awesome gems that are under 20 bucks, because there are a ton of them on the PSP too, and I'm looking at them right now. You've got those God of War games, Lord of Arcana, Gladiator, Dante's Inferno, you know, that's just to name a few. So you have the whole Crisis Core, Dynasty Warriors games. So there's a bunch of really cool games out there on the PSP, and I'll definitely be showcasing those in a different video. But thanks for stopping by this weekend and just hanging out with me. Hopefully you get back to your gaming and enjoy those games for the rest of the night. I am the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.